I'm good for questions.
Should we try to encourage them to continue signing for themselves as long as they can? My father's really big into signing all his own stuff, so
Does he understand what he's signing?
he does.
At that point, I don't see anything wrong with it, but you gotta keep an eye on this. I mean, if anybody's gonna get scammed, it's usually these people. They really gotta be careful what they're signing. Sometimes they're signing the same thing 2-3 times, or they're buying the same thing 2-3 times.
Yeah, we're always with him though. He's never.
Shopping online, a lot of people with Alzheimer's, like a friend of mine, the guy that I co-wrote this book with, he went and ordered 3 pairs of khaki pants. 4 boxes showed up. 3,000. Had a couple extra zeros on there, man, when you win the quantity. So.
No, I guess I mean like when you go to the doctor's office, and you know how they always have you sign that.
If you're power of attorney, I would start signing now, just so they get in the habit of it and get used to it. I mean, bottom line is they really shouldn't be signing anything. You know, if they're diagnosed, you know, and that's the other problem is you need to get the diagnosis. One of the reasons why they should be diagnosed right off the bat is all because of this financial stuff and everything going on and the vultures that come out in the end. They sign a piece of paper, you can contest it very easily, saying this person was already demented when they signed this. And you're in court, whether that's going to hold up in court, I don't know. It could be a sale of property or something like that. If it's something important, my answer is no. I mean, if you're power of attorney, it's your job to look after them from here on, and that's financially too. I mean, not only health. So, anybody else? Oh, come on.
My husband's opposite. When as soon as it's dark, he wants to go to bed. And so, you know, from 6 o'clock to 6:30, we're trying to keep him awake till.
So he doesn't get up at 4? All right. That might change. I mean, I said they finally get to a stage where they really don't know. The biological clock is gone. That's when they start asking you what time it is for 20 minutes, every 2 seconds for one period of time. It's because they don't have a sense of time going on. So everything starts changing on them a little bit doing. So right now, I would say you're almost fortunate. You know, I mean, yeah, keep them up as long as you can if that's the case. But when you really got to start worrying is when they're not sleeping through the night. If they're not sleeping, they're doing something.
Well, he's not sleeping during the night either. He's up and down, and last night 6 times.
Yes, so it's changing. That's what I'm seeing from just hearing that.
I'm with a nursing agency, and we have a client who has Alzheimer's, and our aide is having a very difficult time with her being nice to her. She wants her to pack her things. She lives in with her 24 hours a day. She wants to pack her stuff up, kick her out, pretty much every day. And the place where she lives, the security has to abide by the resident. So every other day, she's packing up her stuff. She's got to go and stay somewhere else for an evening till the next day where she can come back and start all over again.
That's pretty tough.
So we're trying to support her, give her the right advice, but.
Is there something that triggers it when it happens? Sometimes you always got to look back and say, how did we handle this situation? You know, what happened to start, you know?
I think there's just not an extra room for the aide, really. There's a, you know, like you were saying, the house.
She's staying there overnight.
Yeah, the house is the way the lady likes the house to be, but now she has to accommodate for this person. So that's another part of having a caregiver, helping them understand, you know, that they are now going into their area, in their space. Now you're changing it, moving furniture, and the girl has nowhere to sleep, you know, and all of that is the.
Yeah, you're right, that could be part of it.
Handle it, you know?
That's very difficult. Did you try a different person? I hate to say changing staff.
We've gone through a few, yeah. We keep going through a few. We're switching up days.
I would talk to the doctor. Maybe she needs some little anxiety medication to help her out a little bit or smooth her down on it. I mean, I'm not one to medicate people. I mean, but I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. Yeah. And maybe she's probably getting some anxiety building up, and that's what's causing everything on it.
Seems like that. Seems like she's interested.
Yes.
Thank you.
I want to make a statement. There's help through the VA for
Yes.
caregivers.
REACH program is one of them. The REACH program, REACH.
Yes.
Right, that's a very good program for them.
They call me from Bay Pines and
Right.
it's really nice. Plus you can get depends and things like that.
Yeah. The VA, I'm going to tell you something. They seem to be the only administration in our government that understands that the caregivers need help, and it's actually better to keep the patients at home as long as possible.
They'll send someone.
The VA is actually handling Alzheimer's very well because even these kids coming home, they're going to have this dementia is going to be left and right.
Right.
So, Yes.
I know this is not an AA meeting, but how do you wean a person from alcohol?
The alcohol is tough. I mean, like I said, if you can fool them, what they don't know won't hurt them.
Now he makes his own drink.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's tough on it. You might not be able to without putting up a fight. And if he gets combative, back off. I mean, on it.
Can you water it down?
Yeah, that's, yeah. The vodka itself, or whatever he's drinking, pour half the bottle out, fill in the half with water, so at least you're diluting it. You know, no, it's not poor vodka coming out of it, because he'll probably drink 4 more drinks, you know, to equal it out, but that's worth a try on it. So,
Didn't you have the doctor tell him you can't have alcohol because of the meds you're
The
on?
doctor
Yeah.
told him to keep it to 1, maybe 2 drinks.
the problem with that is that might last as long as he walks out of the office and it's gone. So, yeah, exactly, so.
When do you let go? When do you know?
To put him in a home, or this is what I tell everybody. You get a woman your size like this, I go, if he falls, can you pick him off the floor? Right? You got to call 911 to get help to assist him to get up. This is time. I mean, the point. I mean, if you know, and I get people that they just don't have the heart to do it. But you got to look at the big picture. I mean, he could probably get better care over there. I'm not saying you're not doing a good job, but there's certain situations. My dad, he was down 112 pounds when he was going at the end. I picked him up like a rag doll and put him on. You know, I didn't have to worry about that. But I did have hospice come in the last 6 months with me. I mean, and I don't know if I would have made the last 6 months without him. Seriously, I mean, because I'm gonna tell you, you get to a point where you wake up one morning, it's like you're going from a caregiver, and all of a sudden you wake up, it's like, oh my God, it's 24. I'm a 24-hour care nurse. It changes like that quickly in the illness. So, you know how many caregivers die before their loved ones? The odds would surprise you. So, yes.
Any comments about family members or friends that are in denial about dementia and fight against you?
Literature is good. If they can understand what's going on, ask them for help. Get them to stay 24 hours with the person. They might get a whole different picture. It might only take 2 hours, you know, but I'm saying, you know, or a weekend. Say, hey, can you give me this one weekend? You get them some advice, you know? Their thoughts will turn around pretty quick. Let me get this guy back here. I mean, that's that literature. This here, that's one of my hopes is to get family members in denial to read this little booklet. Because it's small, you can read it in one sitting, an hour, and it covers the essentials of the behaviors. Yes.
Needing to lie down frequently, is that a sign of anything
That could be a lot of different things on it. I mean, physically, he might not be well physically on it. I mean, you're saying he's sleeping a lot, laying down a lot? Some people go through that stage of the disease on it. I would mention it to the doctor. Maybe there's something wrong with him, you know. That's the one problem with being the caregiver of an Alzheimer's patient. You're not getting the truth most of the time. So you got to do a lot of figuring out on your own. And so if you got to worry, that's a question I would ask his physician.
Okay.
And bring it up, because there might be something internally. You know, you could be having cramps, or you don't, you know. And like it was in the case of my dad, I'm fine. Don't worry about me, you know. So,
Thank you.
yes.
You know, is there a bracelet that we can get put on them so that if they do wander?
That's right here. Clark brought him in. This is something that he's getting started on it, which is, for right now, I think this is fantastic. The problem is everybody in the hospital going to know this yet? You're going to have to make sure you tell everybody
I'm
that
not
take
talking
care of them.
about hospital, I'm talking about if they're home and you're just dealing with them on an everyday basis, just as a safeguard.
Yes.
So like a safe return?
For,
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys
for
have it.
Collier County, the Alzheimer's Support Network, we offer them for free. Talk to me about that.
Okay.
If you live in Collier, you can get a free bracelet. It's a wander. And then nationally, the Alzheimer's Association does a safe return
Yeah, 'cause
program.
I've seen them for diabetes and all
Yes.
different things, but I've never seen.
Please speak to me about it. We'll get you. What we do is we have a first name, we have a coded number, and then the sheriff's non-emergency number, and then all the information is shared with Collier County Sheriff's Office. So if he does wander, his photo and all of his information where he belongs will be dispensed to all the cop cars around, and so they can go search for him. They also have a tracking bracelet through the sheriff's office that you can get, but we can talk about that.
And I do suggest that if you do the photos with the sheriff, update the photos.
Absolutely.
They change. I mean, when it comes to this disease towards the end, I'm telling you, you wouldn't have recognized my father. In the last year, he changed so drastically. I mean, towards the end, you wouldn't even have recognized the man, you know. People were coming in, they're like, really? That's him? I mean, so keep every 3 or 4 months, you might want to redo a photo on it.